As for Marcus Smart, I get it. Lit into his teammates last night. Said this is embarrassing. Said folks pay money to watch us compete. We should at least be competing. I'm paraphrasing here, but you get the point. What'd you make of Marcus Smart's message to his teammates?
Oh, I mean, he's right. Again, you look at the past 3 home games. The Boston game was a lot of fun. They lost, but it was very competitive, and they were giving big-time effort, especially on the defensive end. These past 2, Phoenix, specifically Phoenix, that game was dead the whole time, and it just felt like that the Suns, even when it was kind of close, it just felt like the Suns were going to win that game whenever they wanted to. And they were missing Kevin Durant. They haven't had Bradley Beal for a while. So, you're playing against the Suns with one superstar in Devin Booker, and you feel like with the way you played against the Boston Celtics, that at home against that game without one of the best players in the world, you should be able to give that effort again and keep it close against them. And it just felt like they were going to win that game whenever they wanted to. And then last night, you're going up against the best team in the West, called it, and it's just going to be tough there. But for the game to start like it did, and you're just down 15 just like that, it does feel like the effort is lacking a little bit. And again, like we've been saying, there is an excuse there, but you're at home. You got to find a way to get it close, get a home win. And so I get it. I totally get why he did that last night.
It is one thing to lose because you're shorthanded.
Right.
It is quite another thing to get embarrassed because you're shorthanded and the guys you got on the court aren't really competing, aren't really playing with any sort of urgency or edge, which is actually surprising to me because that is what you should get from players being given an opportunity to have bigger roles than they otherwise would. Like right now the Grizzlies have starters who should be coming off their bench and bench guys who should be in South Haven or unemployed or at least not in the NBA. You would think these players would be so inspired by the chance,
right,
that you'd be like, hey, we might not be good enough, but I promise you ain't nobody going to question whether we're trying.
Right.
Because I'm playing 27 minutes tonight. I might never play. There are guys who played real minutes last night who, once this stretch of unfortunate stuff is over, might never play meaningful minutes in the NBA. You ready for this? Again, ever.
True.
All right? Why wouldn't that be the thing you go, man, I might not ever get this shot again.
Right.
The lack of effort is really concerning. And if I'm Marcus Smart, I'm bothered by that. I get why he was bothered by that. It's one thing to lose because you're shorthanded. What has happened over these past 3 games is ridiculous. Down 26 at home after only closing as a 6-point underdog yesterday. That's the other thing here. These point spreads that are placed on these games are made with everything taken into account.
Right. They know who you're missing.
They know who's out. All right? They know who you got. They know who the other team's got. Then they put a number on it. All right? Against Minnesota, Grizzlies 6-point underdog, lose by 22. Against Phoenix, 3.5-point underdog, lose by 21. Against Houston, 5-point underdog, lose by 20. You're not supposed to win any of those games because you're an underdog in each. You ain't supposed to get blasted like that in any of them either. And I know that does happen in the NBA sometimes. Teams just get destroyed, wiped off the court. But it's not supposed to happen. You never see 20-point spreads in the NBA. All right? They lost the past 3 games by an average of 21 points. They weren't underdogs by an average of 21 points, not even close. So they're 3-13 overall, but just 5-11 against the spread. So they're even underachieving relative to their current set of unfortunate circumstances. That's what's embarrassing. Any criticism should be connected to that. Winning is hard down 6 rotation players. Got it. But can you at least compete? Because Marcus Smart doesn't think you're competing. And Derrick Rose doesn't think you're competing. And Dylan Brooks said you got no swagger. And Anthony Edwards says your building is dead. That's where we're at.